lot of law firms, they have already opened offices in different parts of the world, like Singapore, UK, US. And when we talk about future of legal profession, for the Indian lawyers, we feel that the world is shrinking and it has become a small place for us. You will find Indian lawyers all over the world. When we talk about practice in India, what is the future of practice in India, I would like to divide the type of practice which we are having today. It has got two streams. One is a litigation stream, and one is a stream of corporate law. Now, when we talk about litigation, it is all court. And corporate is all, sitting, doing amalgamations and doing mergers and conveyancing. And we have to, basically, the field is, that there are twofold fields so far as India is concerned. Now, when it comes to litigation, I would like to talk to the young students over here that one has to be very, very, careful when you prepare your case. You have to be precise. You must know your documents well. You must interact with your clients really well. And you should be able to, put your case in the points in the forefront. When you're doing original side work, your pleadings have to be supported by documents, and they should be precise, your pleadings. When you're doing a reply, your reply should be very emphatic, should be proper. It should, your denials have to be proper. You can't have denials where you have inbuilt admissions. So you have to be very, very categorical in your denials as well. And a very important thing for a lawyer is to have a good command over the English language or Hindi language, whatever language is the language of the court. The language has to be very good, and you have to be very, proper in your expressions. When you're preparing a case and addressing the court, you have to be a devil's lawyer, in the sense that you must know all points against what are points against you, so that you can address those points in the court and you'll be able to deal with them. And very important is you must know the pulse of the judge before whom you are appearing, as also the opposite side lawyer, because each of them have a typical way of handling and they have their own, perspectives. You have to understand. You cannot be aggressive in the court. You have to be calm. At the same time, you should be assertive, and you should be able to make your points at the right time. You should be able to understand what the judge is asking you to, explain, and then you have to go forward. You must keep your written submissions ready at the final argument stage, and they should be very brief, and you should have bullet points supported by case law. And you have to be, when it comes to relationship between a junior and your own senior, you have to learn to respect them. You have to, even in the court, you must understand that when a senior has come, you must, offer a chair to them. If you have many times I've seen the students, the young lawyers, they don't even get up when the senior is there. They don't even offer a chair. And our times when, we used to always see the senior has walked into the court, we used to always offer a chair to them. You have to be very respectful towards them. And when you're a fresher and you are asked to go to a court, and maybe you can't understand what is the order passed by the judge, you must be very, very, honest and transparent to tell your senior that I have not understood. Because if you tell your senior something which is not correct, the senior may inform the client, which will embarrass the client. So you have to actually be very, very transparent and, honest with your senior. Lastly, I would like to touch upon that this is a very jealous profession. It's like a, jealous mistress, this profession. So you must have, balance your life between your profession and between your professional life in a manner that you create happiness around you. And it is very important that you should be able to maintain your health. That is why you must have something what we now say me time. Which me time means you must be able to, look after your health. You must do some yoga, some gymming. And that's the way only you can move forward, because that's the future of your good health is the future of legal profession as well. And lastly, I would like to wish all of you, all students over here, to do well in life and make good lawyers in future and make this university a very proud institution, and your faculty members as also your parents. Thank you very much.
When she said about legal profession being a jealous profession, I think that would appeal was to those ladies here who are the backbone, if I would say, of our legal profession now, because they have an art of balancing, you see, the professional life as well as the domestic life, family life, responsibilities of running the offices, responsibilities of running home. It's a very, very important thing we men lawyers have to learn from ladies, how to make adjustments. It is very easy for us men. We go to the office, we go to the courts and then come back, have our food and then have something. But the ladies are like they are the daughters, they are sisters, then they are wives, then they are mothers, and then they are grandmothers. So they have to look after everything, including their legal profession. So this is like a balancing art, which I think the lady lawyers, they will be adopting that, because it is a jealous profession, therefore you can't ignore it. So these were great words of wisdom. And then we have now Mr. Anand Shrivastava. He represents one of the topmost law firms of the country, Link Legal, who actually specialize in so many things, infrastructure and civil aviation and all those things. So, Mr. Anand Shrivastava. But 5 minutes.
Yes, it is. So, thank you, Mr. Bhasin. Thank you, Mr. Mishra, for this opportunity, and of course, learned professors. I just wanted to focus on 3 points for all the youngsters who are starting their legal career. I think let's first focus on, when we are talking of globalization and we are talking about, the future of legal, profession and for the students. Let me just throw a little bit of light on statistics. India, when we speak of India, our country today is in the top 5 economies. And if we were to compare, the number of lawyers vis-a-vis the GDP, we would be not even in the top 50 countries. So the opportunity over here is just immense. If you were to talk about the number of judges, per 1 million people, which is 10 lakh people, is 22 number of judges. So our access to justice issues, Mr. Lakshmikumaran spoke about rule of law, there's an immense opportunity there. The number of lawyers today in our country is only 19 lakh. And therefore, that means we have one advocate per 930 people. And just like we have data for doctors, access to justice still remains a big issue for our country. Compared to the globe, the global size of the legal market today is roughly $712 billion. And India's legal market was last measured by a publication called RSG, which is Reena Sen Gupta. She runs an independent, assessment. And she measured the Indian legal market to be $1.4 billion. So it's $1.4 billion versus $700 billion is the size, and we are the 4th largest economy in the world. If our country, needs to kind of match what is happening across the globe, we need to obviously upskill. We have, our dean and the vice chancellor of this university is foreign educated, and obviously, she'll bring those standards in. But what opportunity and the future of legal profession we are talking is just unparalleled. The kind of growth that we have in store for our profession is just unparalleled, and the opportunity that we are presenting is just amazing. And this market, mind you, is supposed to grow at a compounded annual growth rate of more than 8% per year. So that means that we need to kind of catapult ourselves in a very, very big way. And the legal market, which Neena Gupta ma'am spoke about between disputes and corporate practice, is again 1:2. Global markets all over the world would have a 50-50 split. We still have our litigation practice not at par with the corporate practice when it comes to the dollars involved in it. So that's about the opportunity. What we need to do quickly, I think I would be left with maybe 2 or 3 minutes. But having spoken about the opportunity, what we need to kind of work towards as academia and as students is to match our professional ethics and professional standards with the global world. Well, yesterday, I'm sure all of you watched, Brazil lost to Cameroon 1-0. And so we are seeing, in a way, the end of the colonial world. The White Man's Club is getting over at the International Bar Association this year. We spoke about India having a place on its own. Stop Singapore representing India and India's interests. So there is already, a push towards India to come to main stage. And it is high time. We create more than 100,000 jobs in US today. We are US's biggest trade partner today. And it's high time. Mr. Lakshmi Kumaran is negotiating our free trade agreements. He was telling me today morning, and he's working day and night with a large team of, foreign service IAS officers. And so hopefully we will get a very, very good free trade agreement. And the last thing that I quickly, Mr. Batina stood up, so I'll just race into this point, is artificial intelligence. So please do, as students, keep your finger on digital technology. Already we see the English, Law Society prescribe professional standard rules that, that say that if you do not know technology, you're not professionally competent. So, and we have a push at the New York Bar for a similar rule. Mr. Mishra, I'm sure, would be taking this in, but, our senior advocates and our judges, already Delhi High Court has a lot of digital courts. So we will see a big move to digitalization and, of course, online services. So keep your finger on that. Please keep that, at the back of your mind, that you need to be technologically, capable. So I think those are my 3 points. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Anand, you have really shown that brevity is an art. You were able to present your point of view very effectively in the form of bullet points, but very good. I now request Mr. Gaurav Dudeja. He represents one of the topmost law firms, Phoenix Legal, which has been founded by a very eminent lady lawyer, Manjula Chawla. So, and she has about 8 or 10 lady lawyers working with the firm. And Mr. Gaurav Dudeja is an exception. Please, a big hand.
Thank you, Mr. Bhasin, for the kind introduction, and good morning to everyone here. Well, had I been in court, I would have just used 2 terms here, 2 words. I adopt the arguments of my learned seniors who have already presented the case, but I will use this opportunity to supplement whatever they've said. And, well, I would start with the perception of the education system. Legal education system has undergone a complete change. When I was starting in 2004, and I met some of the luminaries in the profession, so I mean the general feedback that I received was, it does not matter which law school you go to. I mean, your real education will start after, after you complete law. But that has completely changed. The legal education today, the students who come to intern with us, they are far more far-sighted, they are far more complete. When they apply, they already know which field of law they want to pursue. And at our times, we didn't even know, that so many fields of law exist, so many areas of practice exist. And having said that, it's very important to realize that the law ultimately, our focus should be on the learning first principles. We can do specializations and super specializations, but it's very important to learn the first principles, which you learn in the law school. So it's very important to have a wonderful facility like this. And with regard to globalization, well, the market for legal in globalization is increasing. Earlier, it was restricted to human rights issues, then international arbitrations. Now, cross-border insolvency is also one of the areas which is really picked up. And so with the world shrinking, we'll see more and more globalization in our profession as well. And I would just conclude by saying I adopt whatever my previous speakers said. Thank you.
Sometimes it works, when you give the time limit and set the time limit, you are able to extract the best out of the person. It is like our Supreme Court does here. I'm sure honorable judges are not here, that you only get 3 minutes to 5 minutes, whatever points you have. If they are not impressed with it, your petition will be thrown out. So it is virtually like the Supreme Court proceedings you are witnessing here. So I have now great pleasure in requesting Mr. Rohit Ashwaprasad. He represents, I think, one of the topmost law firms, not only known in India, but throughout the world, that is JSA, set up by my very dear colleague, and he's the additional president of the Society of Indian Law Firm, Mr. Jyoti Sagar. Mr. Jyoti Sagar believes in simplicity of language, and he has produced, you see, some 3-4 modules of use of simple English in law, which is, I think, the need of the hour. We may understand the intricacies of law, our honorable judges may understand, but the citizens, they don't get that, you see, understanding of what the law is about. So he comes from that distinguished law firm, that is Mr. Rohit Ashwaprasad from JSA. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Dr. Raghavan, Vice Chancellor, IIULER, Mr. Mishra, Chairman BCI, Mr. Bhasin, Self President. I consider it a great honor and privilege that you have considered me worthy of addressing this gathering today. Today is a unique day for this institution because 2 sets of people are making their debut today, the students as well as the institution, for it is the start of the very first academic session today. So congratulations to all of you. And I am confident that in 5 years' time, we will see the harvest of a very fine first crop of budding lawyers who would have been tended to by all of the teachers and the hard work that they're going to put in for the next 5 years. So I wish you all the best. Now, I am going to supplement what my previous speakers have said. And so the topic of today's discussion was and is the future of legal education, and with an emphasis on the globalized world that we live in. Now, I feel that I would like to give my observations on 2 aspects. of legal education. One, its role in imparting legal knowledge, the doctrines of law, the basic fundamental principles of law, and also its role in the development of skills and competencies of new entrants, which is going to be very important for you as you graduate out of law school in 5 years. Now, starting with the knowledge bit, I'll touch upon three things which a curriculum must contain in a globalized world, and very important to make it relevant, in the future. There has to be a holistic integration of law with non-law subjects. Now, law, what is law? Law, after all, is a social science. It is inextricably linked to, and indeed in some respects even a product of, the politics, the sociology, the economics, and the psychology of the people who give to themselves the law that they want to govern themselves by. Indeed, our constitution, which is the fountainhead of all laws, and the constitution of any rule-based society, is nothing if it is not a political document, reflecting all of these elements. And I feel that this is particularly relevant for a 5-year BA LLB course and the students who go into it in India, because India is somewhat unique in offering this structure of a 5-year BA LLB course to students straight out of law school. In the US, for example, the JD, which is the LLB, as it is called there, is actually a postgraduate course. So anybody who gets into a JD has already had 4 years of solid undergraduate education, either in the liberal arts or in the sciences, or a combination of both. In the UK, on the other hand, a 3-year course is offered as LLB right after high school, but that is imparted in a university setting. So not in a standalone law university setting. So their students have the benefit of interacting with people and the fellow students across all disciplines for 3 years. And then after 3 years, they do a 2-year training contract, and then they become lawyers. In India, I would add a word of caution. The risk is that if you are studying in an institute where you are studying only with lawyers at an impressionable age of 17 years, a risk is that you end up with a unidimensional personality. So therefore, it is very important that during the course of your study here, pay focus on the non-law subjects as well and its interrelationship with law. Like, the IIULER curriculum has sociology, economics, politics, and philosophy. You should not, ignore those subjects and the importance of those subjects in your studies. The other thing that I felt, and this is addressed more to our administrators of legal education here, is that I feel that there is a need to develop the curriculum relating to corporate laws. And to the extent, and I speak that as a corporate lawyer, and to the extent that you students do get an opportunity to study corporate laws here, you must do that. Presently, what I find is that most of the curriculum is structured as if to prepare students for disputes and contentious practices. The range of corporate laws, regulatory laws, and other laws which impact transactional practices needs some development. And here I refer to the laws relating to mergers and acquisitions, private equity, foreign investments in India, joint ventures, banking and finance, laws relating to, issuance of securities, for example. And why do I make this point? Is because, in this globalized world, with the Indian economy needing funds from all over to fuel itself, in all sectors of the economy, it is these laws which are underpinning our economic growth today. Now, to what extent courses can be developed, can be decided best upon by the university, particular university, and by a teacher, as depending upon the needs of a particular university and the interests of students there. There's another reason why I feel that this should be developed is because as it happens that these days it is the corporate law firms and business houses where the most gainful employment for young graduates can be found. So therefore, if an introduction to these laws right at the undergraduate academic level, in my view, will be helpful for both students and potential employers in assessing the relevant aptitudes of students. The final point I would like to make, so far as the knowledge part is concerned, is that you should focus on those courses of study which have comparative element to it. India being a common law jurisdiction, there is a tremendous scope of learning from the jurisdiction of the two most developed legal systems of the world, the British and the American, and applying it in day-to-day practice, particularly when arguing matters in courts. And this is especially true of constitutional matters and matters of public importance. So today, matters relating to privacy, environmental law, laws relating to different kinds of minorities, and so on and so forth, they are all argued with reference to the development of these laws in other jurisdictions as well. And today, several branches of comparative law, not only comparative constitutional law, but comparative administrative law, comparative civil law, comparative property law, and criminal law, they have developed to such an extent that they can substantively be taught, in my view. And look at the irony here. 70 years ago, the framers of our constitution, they did the first great comparative legal study of all the constitutions of the world and picked out the best and crafted our constitution, which was the most appropriate for us. So therefore, I feel that we should live up to the example that they have set up and lay a stress both from the teacher side and also from the student side, reciprocate by them on focusing on comparative legal education. Any talk of the future of legal education in an interconnected global world will be incomplete if you do not know the basic fundamental principles of what you are arguing and as they have developed in the UK and the US particularly. Now, coming to the skills, in legal curriculum in India traditionally has focused on imparting the doctrinaire knowledge, but it has been found wanting in the latter. I feel that there are a number of skills which can actually be taught at the undergraduate level and not only left to be learned on the job, as is the case typically. So now, any crafter of a curriculum therefore must ask himself or herself 3 questions. What are such skills? How can these be imparted? And who can best instruct students in these, whether academics or practicing professionals? In law schools, I feel that skilling can be imparted through legal clinics. And here I distinguish them, legal clinics from clinical courses, such as drafting, pleading, conveyancing, etc. Typically, in a legal clinic, small group of students under the supervision of a teacher advise individuals in small causes matters and small businesses. The law schools in the US have been particularly successful in implementing these clinics as part of their elective courses. So my dear students, to the extent that you have these clinical courses in your upper year electives here, please make it a point to take those as per your interests. Secondly, certain skills like negotiations, communications, and identifying and solving problems can be imparted through tutorial seminars and workshops. So I feel that these are the things which, if all of us on this side of the table and on the other side do seriously consider, it will hold all of you in good stead, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Here you see there is no this side or that side. I think we are all one here. We are also learning from whatever presentations are made. He touched upon very important aspect of what should be the content of legal education. And I'm just prompted to add something, since I will not get this opportunity of addressing so many vice chancellors and faculty members, that there should be some emphasis on 2 things. One is legal writing. Legal writing is being ignored, although it is a very important subject in the United States universities, in the United Kingdom. Legal writing, because the success of your case depends upon how your pleadings are drafted, how your correspondence, how your agreements are being drafted. Therefore, there should be some specialization in the field of legal drafting. And secondly, that we have about 5 crore cases pending, and this is official. Official 5 crore cases pending all over the country. Litigation will not solve that. Even arbitration will not solve that. Therefore, try to inculcate in the students, you see, the need and necessity of settling the disputes. Samadhan, samjhota, that should be the motto. Therefore, mediation should be the answer. And I'm sure that under this great institution, which is being inaugurated today, which is the gift given by Mr. Manan Mishra to the country at large, this will be a very important topic of encouraging mediation and developing negotiating skills among the, he's either in California or somewhere because he's got offices all over. And he's one person who is responsible for bringing in foreign investment into India and also Indian investment outside India. That is the office of Nishit Desai, and we are very happy to have Shweta Sahu representing that eminent law firm.
Thank you so much, Lalit Bhasin, sir. So the disadvantage of being one of the last speakers of this panel would be, everyone has already expressed their brilliant minds and thoughts to you, so I'll just keep it very brief. Now, I personally know a lot of people who keep telling that, the kind of education which they got in their college and what they're currently doing in their jobs has no connection. And I'm not talking particularly about the legal industry, but I particularly differ because I have always felt my law school education is what is helping me today, every day in fact, professionally as well as personally. That is the importance of legal education. That's where we learn how to read a judgment, how to do research, and how to read the constitution or interpret a statute. So that we have to first understand how important legal education is for all of us. And we have had sufficient discussion about how legal education should be multidimensional, global, which of course this university is promising. I was going through the curriculum. There are European and American law papers included here. So I really have a lot of faith that this initiative is going to go up to great heights. And the level of dependence on technology, we've also really heard a lot about it, and the pandemic has shown it's rightly so. It's because of technology that a lot of us actually could get access to online hearings, legal education, and all of it. What misses our sight generally are a few basic things. We have been discussing also today about legal writing and the importance of soft skills and written advocacy, oral advocacy. But I also feel at the outset, when a law university is designing a curriculum or the syllabus for a particular subject, maybe some input should also be taken from people outside the university for a practical knowledge or exposure as well. For example, in an ADR, alternative dispute resolution paper, when the faculty is discussing arbitration, it should not be restricted to what the state of arbitration is. Students should also be exposed to and be aware of what an arbitration clause looks like. Because a lot of times we have fresh graduates coming to work with us, and they know a lot on the theory, but they don't even know how to identify what a particular clause should be like. So I think while designing the curriculum, there should be sufficient inputs which can be taken from other stakeholders in the legal industry as well. And I'm sure everyone will be more than willing to help and contribute there. And as lawyers, or be it any person in the legal industry, we don various hats. Now, I am a disputes professional. It's not like I really just go to courts and argue. I do advisory work. I really help and step in transactional work also when required. So it's a very vast scope of services that we offer to our clients or the people or the public generally. So I personally feel, if there is some kind of proper guidance or career coaching which is given to students, at the law school level itself, they'll have more clarity about the industries they want to focus on, about the choices they want to make. Because at the end of 5 years, I understand a lot of you are starting your careers now itself, and at the end of 5 years, it's always better to have more clarity as to what you would want from your life or from your profession. And one last but very important thing which I would like to mention is our legal education would be wholesome if we also try to inculcate soft skills, how to balance time and manage work, how to manage your stress, because trust me, any profession is quite stressful and it's very demanding. And if you have to do well in your profession, there's going to be stress. So I think stress management, mental health, physical health, so this kind of management and balancing your life with work is something which should also be a part of the legal education. And that way you will also be able to serve better and do justice to your job. And we often come up with great ideas, and we as lawyers believe in being a voice, but I also feel there's usually a gap in the ideas and the implementation. So all I would like to say is hoping for better implementation and a more successful life for all of you. Thank you.
See, coming from a young lawyer, I think she touched upon the practical tips being given to our future lawyers here. Even I will adopt some of the tips which you have given. You see, well, I do that. Friends, now we have three very distinguished members of the Indian legal profession who day in and day out practice in the Supreme Court or in other high courts and other high courts. Firstly, we have Mr. Rajiv Datta, a very eminent senior counsel, a familiar face in the Supreme Court of India, and who has done pioneering efforts, made pioneering efforts in the field of litigation for the underprivileged people, for the economically weaker people, and has excelled in that direction. He's given it back to the society in his own way. So over to Mr. Rajiv Datta.
Actually, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Professor Sri Vidya Raghavan, she is here present in the hall, meeting hall. Actually, our plan was to invite her on the dais in the second session. She'll be there on the dais in the second session. But it's our duty to give thanks to all the law firms, and she's desirous to come on the dais. I invite Dr. Professor Sri Vidya Raghavanji to come and deliver a few words of thanks for the law firms and the people on the dais of the dais. Please come.
There could be no other befitting recognition of the law firms if, you see, we have the views of the eminent Vice Chancellor, Dr. Raghavan here. Thank you.
It's indeed a matter of great privilege to be here today, and thank you everyone for being here and also for introducing me and to give me an opportunity to thank all of you who've given such great advice to the rest of us. So if I may take the liberty, right, if you want lawyers to speak for 5 minutes, law professors, usually 50 is the minimum. So we start when the bell goes and ends on all topic when the bell goes again. So, so the topic today is the future of legal education, and I'm excited about it. As someone who's been in this business for the past 23 years, and I feel that in a globalized world, the future of legal education, especially from India, is going to take a turn for the better. Our engineers have disrupted the engineering market across the globe. It's time for our lawyers to do that. And what better way to do that than to begin with legal education? I was one of the first recruits of National Law School of India, where we began this journey of disrupting legal education. And as I see more NLUs and more law schools across India and lawyers doing well in the rest of the globe, I believe that this is education, the next stage in education. And I thank the Bar Council for creating this excellent initiative. I first of all wanted to acknowledge and thank Mr. Lakshmi Kumaran. One of my very first job opportunities as a graduate of law was with Kumaran and Sagar. And one of my very first jobs was at J. Sagar Associates. So I'm indeed proud of what, how much I've come from those times, but I am always grateful for the opportunities that were given to me in all of these places. So I wanted to talk about how American law schools, you mentioned it earlier, how JDs, I've been teaching JDs for the past 23 years. And you're right, JDs, most of my students have at least a master's in another discipline or a PhD, more often than not. And most of them use skills in sociology, economics, music, engineering to improve their skills in law. So, and that's one of the things that this particular institution will strive to do as much as possible, right? To provide you with a holistic perspective of law. Both clinical and experiential education are absolutely important. I come from a university, from a home where both clinical and experiential learning has been emphasized, and the hope is we could do the same thing here. We talked about a lot of things, and comparative perspectives is something that I want to address. Today, in a globalized world, I see comparative perspectives happening everywhere. Countries that do not accept comparative jurisprudence lag behind. And so comparative perspectives of different legal systems enables us to get the best out of, it's like the theory of comparative advantage. You take the best out of a jurisdiction, apply it and sieve it for our local realities. And that's the whole story of international trade and globalization. And we should start that with legal education. It's not that we should start, we should advance it more rather in legal education. The only other thing I wanted to highlight is about the gap between education and marketplace. I think the gap may be a little bit larger in India than, say, in a place like the United States. In a place like the United States, when my students become lawyers, they automatically give back to the university they came from. They automatically give back to the legal profession. They give in terms of time, their effort, internships, energy. They keep in close connections with us, and they help the law schools breed the next generation of lawyers. I expect, and I would request for the same from all of my batchmates, from all of the national law schools, from other law schools, but who are in the profession now. But most importantly, it's an obligation of some of the law firms to give back to the profession so we can breed the next generation of smart, confident lawyers. And I want to highlight what Ms. Smriti said, Smita said in the end, which is, law schools are absolutely important. I wouldn't be what I am today. I come from Gobi-Chettipalayam, so I wouldn't be what I am today but for my law school experience, right? And to my students, I always say, it is where we learn the concept of reasonable man, and then come into the profession and realize that it is indeed just a concept, right? And never exists in reality. Am I right in saying that? Right? So, and that also speaks for all the women who are here, right? We are the next. We are the beginning and the end for globalization, right? We represent the next generation and disruption in legal education as well as the legal field. So the idea is to make you strong, confident, knowledgeable to tackle the next generation of industry, not just lawyering. With that, I thank you for the opportunity to speak, and absolutely, thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Raghavan, for recognizing the role of the law firms. Besides these 6-7 top law firms which are represented, there are many other law firms also, but due to paucity of time, we have not been able to give them time to express their views. But what you pointed out about globalization, when people ask me that if you allow foreign lawyers to come, the Indian legal profession will grow in status and in stature, I say no. Indian legal profession today is second to none in the world. It is, and I can add with some daring certainty that Indian legal education is also second to none in the world, you see. There are students from different countries who come to the Indian legal schools to study. Therefore, globalization now means for us not importing ideas. Of course, exchange of views is always important, but also exporting our ideas so that it benefits the world at large. That is the role of the legal education. And with such institutions like this one being set up today, and the national law schools and the private universities that we have, I am sure that we will be able to achieve that. So I request now Mr. Rajiv Datta. Sorry, sir, you have to be very, very brief because we have some vice chancellors also, although I take it that Professor Raghavan has spoken for most of the vice chancellors here. So but they would definitely, will request them to give their blessings, you see, to the, not only the university, but to the students from all over the country.
Thank you, Mr. Hussain. Good afternoon, everybody. I am really grateful to the Bar Council of India for inviting me here. My dear friends on the dais, my seniors on the dais, professors from various universities, the Vice Chancellor, as you just heard. Dear students, the future of India, the future of the law profession. I am so happy to see you over here in really large numbers. I am also, I feel like also congratulating and being grateful to the government of Goa for setting up this university along with the Bar Council of India. When we talk of globalization, this is it. This is how we are going to change our legal system. I belong to a yester era, and I call myself from no education to education. We went to law colleges only to get attendance. There were evening law colleges in India. People who were working, they used to join law, and we've met many, many people who would say, "Maine bhi law kiya hai." That is bygone. That is all going to be in our background. I am not going to speak for too long. I am only reminded of a small, I think it was Winston Churchill who was asked to come and speak for 5 minutes as a session, and he said, "I need 3 months." So they said, no, we want you only to come for 5 minutes. He says, "That's the problem. If you want me to come and talk the whole day, I can come right now. But if you want me to speak for 5 minutes, I need 3 months to prepare." So this is long and short of 5 minutes. I am very happy today that I am a practitioner. Mostly I practice in the Supreme Court, and being a Article 136 lawyer, I am today very happy that those 2 minutes that we get to argue our briefs at the admission stage is helping me out today. So all I need to say is, I want to introduce you, I think most of you know it, to the, of course, the yeoman service that the Bar Council of India is doing. And I must tell you, they brought out a volume 46, sub-volume 4 in 2019, and the whole volume was legal education. I am fortunate to pen an article in this. So it is the mind, it is the thought behind, and we all know education is like bicycle. As long as you keep pedaling, you keep traveling. If you don't pedal, you won't travel. And I think it is just that to elevate legal education in India, you know, the backbone of, being a senior counsel, I can tell you that emphatically, the backbone of our legal profession is the law firms. And I sincerely believe in that. And globalization of education in India is something which the law firms will play a great role in. Comparative law, as you have already been told, is something that is growing. We are a common law country, we all know it. And our judgments of the Supreme Court influence very highly the African and the Southeast Asian countries. We continue to do that. We did a yeoman service in the COVID. And let me tell you, I learned my law, as I told you, from senior counsels. When I joined the profession, I fell into this sea of law. Before that, as I told you, the legal profession was very, very different. And it is from the senior counsels, and I am very proud of the fact that I worked with some of the most eminent senior counsels in this country who have devoted not only diligently but brilliantly to interpret the law that the Supreme Court has done from 1950 onwards, whether it is the constitutional law, whether it is any other law. The only other point I want to make is law is changing. In my career, in my lifetime, I have seen we began from adversarial. Today we are going to negotiation. Adversarial to negotiation is what I call it. And let me tell you, there are so many laws which have come in the meanwhile, and I am so excited about it. The arbitration law has gone a sea change in this country. We have the IBC. We have so many things which have come in, and I think it is the financial sector, it is the globalization of India that is to be supported, and that can be supported by only education in the legal professions. I somehow wanted to also tell you, I don't want the legal profession and the law colleges in India to become another IITs, that we develop the students and then they just part from India and go and serve elsewhere. India needs you. Because as already we are all aware, it's public knowledge how many cases are pending in courts, how many less judges we have, etc., etc. And of course, we have today so many things which are facing and staring us in the face, whether it is the collegium system, whether how to appoint judges, etc. We need to solve all these things, and we will do it, I am sure. The other thing I wanted to only tell you is that it is the law firms which today are giving the maximum employment to the young lawyers. So therefore, in future, if we have to study and we are well prepared with comparative law, I think the future of our country, as far as the legal education is concerned, is in very safe hands. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you, Rajiv. You see, even though he is a senior counsel, but I can take the liberty of calling him by first name because I have seen these senior counsel grow in the profession after having now put in 60 years this year in the profession myself. We must have the face of the government also as to what the government feels about the legal education and the law practice. So no other person, a better senior counsel then Mr. Vikramajit Banerjee to please share his views. He is one of the most eminent lawyers and is hopping from one court in the Supreme Court to the other court because he is very much in demand to represent the government of India, or ASG.
A word of caution before I start. I don't represent the government, I represent myself. So that's... before I start, it's a great honor and a pleasure to be here. And before I start, I would like to thank respected Manan Mishra ji, Apurva Sharma ji for inviting me and for getting me involved in this. Professors, and my professors, a lot of them, and people who've taught me, Ranveer Singh, Venkatarao Saab, Krishnadeva Rao Saab, Nagaraj sir, it's like all the faculty members have taught me. And my very eminent colleagues whom I face every day at the Supreme Court and who I have great, great respect for, Lakshmi Kumaran sir, Rajiv Datta sir, S.N. Bhatt sir, Lalit Bhasin sir, whom we've always looked up to, and Veena ma'am. Thank you. And of course, I forgot Professor Sinha, who's been very kind to me and I'm greatly familiar with. Srividya, who is the person of the center of what this program is all about. And my good friend Gaurav, whom we met yesterday, parents of the students, whoever have come here for this wonderful occasion, students and faculty members. That being said, it was a success. In its own way, it produced extremely eminent people. Srividya is a great product. In academia, there are numerous products. Sudhir is an eminent product. Nigam is an eminent product. Lawyers galore, senior advocates galore, judges, number of judges, very eminent academics. There are civil servants who come from law school and very eminent civil servants. So, and excellent lawyers. And I think a large number of lawyers in law firms are dominated by the national law schools. So in many ways, it changed the face and it was a great, great success. But so in that context, I thought it was a fantastic thing that the Bar Council of India has now decided to update the project. And this discussion, I would take it back, Manan Mishra sir, to what I had a discussion long time back when I taught for a year at NUJS with the very, very famous and eminent Professor Menon. Professor Menon told me, and in a moment of candor, that, you know, Vikram, we've succeeded beyond what we widely thought possible with the help of the Bar Council to change the legal profession as the way it's perceived, way legal education is done. But what we want to do is what now? And, you know, we used to discuss this entire conception of Law School 2.0. And he said that one of the most important things what we need to consider for Law School 2.0 is bring an international perspective into legal teaching. So this is what I would expect from this new law school, is twofold. Bring international law, and not only international law as in not only public international law, private international law, commercial law, so many stuff, into India, but also take India to the world, because that's extremely important to me. Now, with the spread of technology, everything has been globalized. Everything, you know, you have your practices of constitutional law. We are referring to large conceptions which are in some ways international. Our trade laws, our commercial laws, and the technology laws, they've all become international. So I expect, and this is what I would expect from this law school, is to take that entire thing forward, to create a true international law school, a globalized law school in the true sense. I am not running the law school, national law school model down presently. In the last 3, I will rain on that parade as well. But according to me, what was missing and what I think the scope of this law school would be is to provide that very important aspect of globalization, which was unforeseen when the law school model was started, and which today is a very important component of our lives across the board, across various different subjects. Now, I'll come to the end, and before I sort of conclude, I have 3 words of caution. And as a person who studied in a law school, and most importantly, as a person who taught in a law school. I taught for a year at NUJS with Professor Menon. The first is, I hope this law school concentrate on the practice of law. The lacuna of the National Law School, and there are very eminent people here, but I'm sorry I'm going to rain on your parade, was its huge emphasis on social sciences, which was hugely revolutionary to start off with. And in the age of postmodernism, deconstruction, intersectionality, it was revolutionary. Everybody thought it was like cat's whiskers. But what happened as a result is basic skills of procedure, basic skills of presentation, basic skills of maybe making contracts were never taught. I can vouch it was never taught. A law school of the future needs to look into this. You don't need to produce social revolutionaries, and by my experience, all social revolutionaries, as they grow old, become social conservatives anyway. So it really doesn't matter. But we do need to teach how to practice law and how to practice law in the real world. Second, I hope the law school is going to have a truly international perspective. And this truly international perspective, I would suggest, should also look east. There is China, there is Japan, there is Southeast Asia, there is even places of the Middle East, which are going to be the future centers of growth, of jurisprudence, of commercial law, and the world is moving east. Related to it is my third point. In the law school at National Law School, and in my experience of teaching at NUJS, we started off trying to create a Harvard of the East. We created in many ways a westernized jurisprudence amongst ourselves. We have to be very, very careful of that. Globalization, according to me, is not westernization. We have to keep rooted in our own culture. We have to ensure that we live amongst the world, which we cannot disregard. We cannot go back home. But it is important while teaching law that we remain ourselves. All of us who've been to law school will know what I mean by that. And I'll end off in that word of caution with a quote which I always love of Mahatma Gandhi, which speaks about the challenges of globalization and the importance of being grounded in who we are. He famously said that I want cultures of all lands to be blowing about my house as freely as possible, but I refuse to be blown off my feet by any. I hope this law school, with its wonderful international globalized name, reflects that. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you. The ASG spoke about what lawyers should be doing in the courts, something about the court craft also. I'm reminded of old days when we used to have in India the jury system. If those of you who watch Netflix and all that, you will see that in US and other countries, jury system is still there. So in India, we had the jury system. And that there were teachers like Professor Venkat Rao and Dr. Ranbir Singh. They were the law teachers. So they were giving some parting advice to the law students who were passing out, and thereafter they would become lawyers. So Professor Venkat Rao or Dr. Ranbir Singh or Dr. Nagaraj, everyone said, if you are strong on points of law, hammer them to the judge. If you are strong on facts, hammer those to the jury. So one student got up and said, sir, if we are strong in none, he said, hammer the table. So that is also a part of the court craft, which we learned from our learned professor in a lighter vein. And friends, today is a very auspicious day. I should have said so in the beginning. Today is the birth anniversary of the first President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. In 2016, as the President of the Bar Association of India, I started the celebration of 3rd December as Lawyers of India Day to commemorate, you see, Dr. Rajendra Prasad's contribution as a lawyer, a very eminent lawyer, and then of course as a great son of the soil who eventually became the first President of India. So it's a very auspicious day. I'm very happy that Mr. Manan Mishra has chosen this day for inauguration of this university. So they say, well begun is half done. I think it is more than half done. All credit to you. I want to assure also the Vice Chancellors and the law faculty members here that Society of Indian Law Firms, it is called SILF, represents the most brilliant think tank, as Mr. Rajiv Datta rightly pointed out, that they are like the backbone of the economic progress of this country, because without legal support, you can't achieve anything. You have to sign protocols, bilateral agreements, joint ventures, transfer of technology agreements, and everything you have to do. So we have a brilliant think tank here of 125 topmost law firms. I am here offering to you, in the presence of the Chairman of the Bar Council of India, that we are willing to, and we have been doing it wherever requests come, to share our experiences. When we talk of globalization, there could be no other better people, you see, than the law firms. We are willing to offer to you to have exchange of views with the young students who are coming up, and with the faculty members also, who also need to be informed and tuned in about the contemporaneous developments which are taking place, you see, in the world. So we'll be very happy to do anything coming from any university, any law school. We will, please contact me. I'll be very happy to have my experts, members from the law firms, to come and share their views with you. I now request our very eminent senior counsel, Mr. S.N. Bhatt, senior advocate, one of the most eminent lawyers practicing, you see, not just in the Supreme Court, but in various high courts also, to please share his views. Thank you.
Thank you, Basin Saab. I congratulate Bar Council of India for initiating this and starting this excellent institution. Bar Council of India under Mananji's leadership is doing an excellent job. When we started our profession, Bar Council of India used to have a very passive and very dormant kind of existence. Only thing that we remembered about Bar Council of India was when we enrolled ourselves with the Bar Council, or one had the misfortune of getting some disciplinary proceedings initiated against him. Otherwise, one would not really readily recall Bar Council at all. But during the last 7 to 10 years, under the dynamic leadership of the present Bar Council has really taken its rightful role in legal profession. I am really extremely happy and grateful both for the excellent job that the Bar Council of India is doing. It is playing on the front foot, so to say, and that is, I hope and pray that they will continue the initiative for times to come and lead the legal profession from the front. Speakers after speakers today spoke on a variety of issues touching upon the legal profession and the future of legal profession and legal education. Today I want to confine myself only to a couple of issues that the younger, the ones who have now entered the law school here, the students, because most of you would be entering the legal profession in times to come. You will have challenges in front of you. This is, as somebody said, it is a very zealous mistress. It is not an easy profession to really take up. Hard work is the only shortcut in this profession, no other shortcut. Hard work is the shortcut for this profession's success. It requires work day in and day out. And I would suggest those who have taken up this profession, the students here, that keep your eyes and ears open, because every subject that under the sun is a relevant subject for a law student and a legal practitioner. Any subject for that matter, whether it is literature, whether it is poetry, whether it is sports, whether it is cinema, whether it is politics, whichever subject that one touches the human activity is a relevant and important subject for a legal practitioner, because after all, law and legal practice really touches the human affairs. Human affairs is multifaceted. Therefore, it touches various subjects. Therefore, a nodding acquaintance, if not mastery over the subject, at least a nodding acquaintance of every subject is necessary for a good lawyer, because he should be able to understand what exactly is meant by a particular legal principle which deals with that particular subject. If you have at least some experience and some knowledge of that particular subject, you would be able to appreciate it better. And Mr. Rajiv Datta was talking about when we were students in Delhi University, for the first time, case law study was introduced. I suppose the rest of the country did not have case law study. It was understood that case law study is a better way of studying law. Because practical problems presented and how the courts dealt with those problems and how the court applied legal principles to solve those problems is the better way to study law. That is how case law study was introduced. It was at that time sort of a pioneering effort. And I still believe there is a best way to study law, because after all, as I said, law is only a tool to solve human problems in its multifaceted way. Therefore, those of you who have started now to study law, the first year students of this institution, try and devote yourself to study, especially the Supreme Court judgment back from 1950s, if possible even the Privy Council decisions. Try and read them, study and try to master the fundamentals of law, the legal principles, various legal principles which are going to help you to understand how the courts go about the business of making decisions in particular cases. And you are all now used to computers and software reading, etc., etc. But still, I would advise that you write down in your own hand what are the facts of the case, what are the principles applied by the court, and what are the ratios called out by the court to come to the ultimate decision in those cases. That is very important, because when you write it down, you commit it to your memory much better. That is a piece of advice I wanted to give you, because there is nothing like reading a decision and then at the first blush you think that, oh, you have understood it well. But then you would not be able to really recall the essence of the decision when you really require it at a later point of time, unless you read it and reread it and internalize the subject. Therefore, try and internalize law if you want to really become a serious and successful legal practitioner. Those of you who want to really appear in court and do litigation, this is very, very important. Because litigation, you have a reaction should be instantaneous, and on the spur of the moment you should be able to recall and apprise the judge of the legal position when a particular problem crops up. And you never know which particular legal principle you would be confronted with when you are arguing before a court. Therefore, kindly make it a point to do that. As I said, you are the first year students now, first batch of this institution. So vast opportunities are in front of you. You are now opportunities by globalization has come up, and you would be able to, with the help of this institution, take those opportunities. I hope you will succeed well, and I wish you all very, very great success. Thank you very much.
In addition to the tips which Mr. S.N. Bhatt has given, on a serious note, I would suggest to the students that you must enlarge scope of your knowledge. Just don't keep on reading the text of the acts, Contract Act or CPC or our Constitution or anything. You must have a broader vision in case you have to become a successful lawyer, particularly in the context of globalization. Read literature. Read, you see, about other spheres of activities. So enlarge, you see, your knowledge bank. And that you can do if you read newspapers. One is the daily newspaper you must read, the national newspaper, anyone. One is the economic or any financial paper. Because we talk about globalization. It is inherent in globalization that there should be knowledge about the economic developments which are taking place. So I'm seriously suggesting to you, make it a habit, you see, to read 2 newspapers at least every day, and that will broaden your horizons. Friends, we move now to the most important category, because we are talking about legal education and we are at the event of the inauguration of this great university. So we have to necessarily talk about the role played by the heads of these institutions, the vice chancellors, the directors, the faculty members, by whatever names called. Without their blessings, there can be nothing about legal education. What we are today as lawyers is because of the role, the contribution made by such great law teachers as those who are present here. And I'm reminded of Professor Madhav Menon. I'm reminded of Professor Upendra Bakshi. People like him, you see, who do that. So fortunately, we have some very eminent vice chancellors here today, and I would just like them to, because you see, when we speak as lawyers and someone has spoken already on the subject, we say, I adopt these arguments, you know. So please adopt whatever Dr. Raghavan has said, but give your blessings to everyone here, to the faculty members, to all of us here, and you see, to the students particularly. So I would request Professor Dr. Ranbir Singh, who is the former Vice Chancellor of Nalsar and the National Law University, Delhi, to give his blessings.
Congratulations to everybody. Vice Chancellor Shri Vidya, my fellow Vice Chancellors, Chairperson of the Bar Council of India, and all the members of the Bar Council, my dear friends sitting before me, the members of the fraternity, the advocates, students, parents, and my fellow colleagues. Somebody asked me, what is your mandate at the law school? What you are supposed to do? I said very simple. And that simple was that as a Vice Chancellor, being the head of the institution, I'm supposed to create a generation of competent lawyers, those who are technically sound, professionally competent, socially relevant. So they said, what do you mean by technically sound? I said, you saw the COVID, what happened COVID. Unless and until the present generation is technically sound, they will not be able to cope up with the disruptive facilities which has come. So they have to know the interface between technology and law. So that is the first thing we need to do. Second is they have to be professionally competent, the art of advocacy, communication skills, and third was socially relevant. By socially relevant, I mean we may produce best of lawyers, but if you are not a good human being, you can never be a good lawyer. So apart from the fact that they are technically sound, professionally competent, they must be socially relevant. To whom? To everybody. And to the community particularly from which we come, through legal aid or legal awareness program or adopting villages, whatever we do. So this is the first we at the law school need to do. Second is, so what this new law school has to do, the mandate for the new Vice Chancellor, Shri Vidya. Now, we have been there for about 30 years, Shri Vidya now, and 25 or 26 law schools. Now we need to sit down and reinvent, reimagine legal education. I was sharing with my friend that we have been fossilized. In the sense we have been doing almost the same thing every year. We need to change. And the question we need to ask ourselves by sitting with a think tank is, are we future ready? So you have to be future ready. So I wind up with this, not giving you too much of advice at this stage. I'll be always with you. Best of luck to everybody.
Dr. Professor Venkat Rao, former Vice Chancellor of that great institution, the National Law School of Bangalore, which Professor Madhav Menon set up. So I request Dr. Professor Venkat Rao to give his blessing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to add just one point to what Lalit Bhashanji has said. Today is very auspicious because today is Gita Mahotsav or Gita Jayanti Day. Remember, yes. India has shown to be the beacon light to the world. And my focus would be on the little angels who have taken admission and their parents. I would tell them, IT used to stand for information technology till yesterday. Today, IT stands for Indian talent. You represent that. Today, IT stands for India tomorrow. You represent that. When the Bar Council of India sponsored the National Law School of India University in 1986, there were doubting Thomases, but they were proved wrong that when Bar Council's National Law School Bangalore could achieve in 10 years what IITs took 50 years to achieve, what Indian Institute of Management took 30 years to achieve. And the acid test for that is, I always call my alumni deferred dividend. The acid test for that is, the second batch student is now going to shape the destiny of this wonderful institution. And she's going to be the Vice Chancellor. And in the context of globalization, I will just narrate a personal experience of mine that I had with Abdul Kalam. When I look at the face of the youngsters. When we invited Abdul Kalam to our university, he came down and said, youngsters, please tell what your dreams are. You have to translate the dreams into reality. And the dream is that which keeps you awake, which makes you sleepless. One little girl who was studying 8th class, she said, Kalamji, I have a dream. Yes, he said, please tell. My dream is to look forward to that day when the US citizens will stand in queue for the Indian visa. Kalam couldn't believe his ears. He said, he started tears rolling down. He took out the hanky. He had a peculiar habit. He wiped. And then he said, little angel, your dream will become true. Because if US is a land of opportunities, India is a land of ideas. And that opportunity is given to you by the Bar Council of India today by establishing this India International University. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
I have great pleasure in now requesting Dr. Professor Manoj Sinha, Director, Indian Law Institute. He's got wide and varied experience as a legal educationist, and we have all benefited from his views and his what presentations he has made in various conferences, including the law schools. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir, very much. Respected Chairman, sir, Sri Manan Misra ji, and all dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. And from very beginning, I feel myself very fortunate that I have been associated in this exercise, in the establishment of this university. And I thank Honorable Chairman or all the members of the Bar Council of India for giving me an opportunity. I remember just a couple of days back, we interacted with all the new students who are going to join or who have joined already here. And we made a lot of promises. I see there is a hope in the future and hope in the university because we have got very good Vice Chancellor for this particular purpose occasion. And I remember many days we discussed, debated, and tried to find out a suitable person who can head this institution and fulfill all the visions of all members of the Bar Council of India. It's not one single person, it's the entire Bar Council of India, all International Law School Vice Chancellor. All we are looking forward something new, and I hope that you will carry forward. आज हमारे पास समय बहुत कम है, कहने को बहुत सारी बातें हैं, लेकिन मैं यहीं से शुरुआत करता हूं, यहीं से ख़त्म करता हूं और आप सबको बेस्ट विशेष के साथ बहुत बहुत अच्छी आपकी शुरुआत हो. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
You are right, sir. बहुत सारी बातें कहने को हैं, बहुत सारी बातें सुनने को हैं, पर क्या करें, वक्त का तकाजा है कि हम थोड़ा थोड़ा ही बोल के बता दें क्या करना है. So now I have great pleasure in requesting Professor Dr. Nagaraj, Vice Chancellor, NLU, please. Jabalpur, yes. Jabalpur, yeah. आप इतना नीचे बैठे हुए थे तो इसीलिए.
Very good afternoon to all of you. Dignitaries on the dais, especially the Chairman, Bar Council of India, who is responsible for launching this great institution, which is going to be the most vibrant institution in the future, and the dignitaries of the dais. I'm not going to make a lengthy speech. Given the short time, I wish this institution all the best, and I wish the Vice Chancellor, Sri Vidya Raghavan, all the best. And the students, I think you have a lot of responsibility, and it's a great opportunity. Please make good use of this, and you will be the ambassadors of this institution and the country. All the best. Thank you.
I will now request Professor Dr. Vijendra Kumar, Vice Chancellor, NLU, Nagpur, to be followed by Professor Dr. Dilip Uke, Vice Chancellor, NLU, Mumbai. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon to all present here. The Honorable Chairman of Bar Council of India, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of India International University of Legal Education and Research, the dignitaries on the dais, the dignitaries of the dais, dear students and their parents. I am honored to speak at this occasion in front of my own guru guide philosophers, the very senior vice chancellors present on the dais. And I also feel it's a moment to share with all of you. 1986, the second generation of reforms in legal education began when Bar Council of India came forward with the creation of National School in Bangalore. And at present, we are on the third generation, and the Bar Council of India Trust has taken a step forward to create a India International University of Legal Education and Research. For me, as a head of the institution and a fellow Vice Chancellor, the responsibility lies to come up to the expectations of these regulators and creators, having a great responsibility and groom the next generation to lead the legal education and legal profession at the global level. But here, as a young member of the academic administration, I had taken a responsibility since July 2020 to create the institution for justice education as well. So I'll be very happy to request the Honorable Member of the Bar Council of India and the Chairman of Bar Council of India and the Vice Chancellor of this university to start courses on justice education also. Because we talk a lot about the quality legal education towards the members of the bar only, we had ignored the quality justicing among the members of the bench. So I hope so from these young budding lawyers, there may be the best one on adjudication and justicing as well. I greet you and I wish you all the best to see this university at the global level. Thank you very much.
Professor Dr. Dilip Uke, please, Vice Chancellor, National Law University, Mumbai.
Chairman of Bar Council of India, Advocate Manan Kumar Mishra ji, all the dignitaries on the dais, my fellow colleagues, Bar Council of India members, other dignitaries, students and parents and dear friends. At the outset, I heartily congratulate Bar Council of India, its chairman and all the members for creating this third wave of legal education, if I put it in that way. When we talk about the future of legal education, I think that the future of legal education and globalization lies in the future of India International University of Legal Education and Research being established here at Goa. When we say that, and noted jurist Justice Holmes, who had pointed out and observed that life of law is not logic, but it is an experience. I'll put it in different way. Life of legal education is not a logic, but it would be an experience. All of us are confident that under the leadership of BCI as well as the newly appointed Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Srividya Madam, her name stands for itself, Vidya. And therefore, the light which will be shown to all she is a torch bearer, BCI as a regulator. And today it is a unique occasion because it is a sangam of all the three dimensions, the judiciary, the bench, bar, as well as academia. I heartily congratulate once again all, and I believe that the students who have taken admission here, they will be the torch bearers, they will be ambassadors of this university as well as the whole legal education in the country. Thank you so much.
May I request one of the, or any one of the law teachers or vice chancellor to take me also as a student, you see, because I am so much enamored, you see, influenced in a very good way about the noble thoughts which have been shared by these very eminent people. And to bring it to a fitting finale, I would now request Professor Dr. Krishna Deo Rao, Vice Chancellor, Nalsar, Hyderabad. Over to you, sir. A great institution.
Sri Manan Kumar Mishra, Sri Lalit Basin, Professor Srividya Raghavan, my dear students, parents and friends. Many people have said about many things. 1986, people said how it changed the landscape of the legal education in India with the National Law School of India University. So we are looking at now another, whether it's 2.2 or 2.3, but a new law school, 2022. We are visualizing a new landscape for the legal education in the context of globalization, internationalization, law technology, and several of multidisciplinarity which is emerging. I congratulate Chairman Bar Council of India for taking this initiative, and I heartfully welcome Professor Srividya Raghavan for taking this leadership. This should initiate a new journey of our alumni, and our students should come back and start, and then what we said, Garvapsi, come back and take up the leadership role. You are the future generation of the Indian legal education leaders. Congratulations once again, Srividya. And I wanted to be here to witness this new journey in the legal education. You also have the inauguration. You have a great visitor who is Justice Chandrachud, Chief Justice of India, who is an outstanding academic and a lawyer and a judge. And you also have a chancellor, also equally interested in the legal academic, Justice P.S. Narasimha. And with the Bar Council of India support, I think I am definitely confident the new journey will begin, and that will re-energize the legal education in India. As Professor Ranbir Singh and all others have said, it is now time to re-energize the legal education, and I am happy that Srividya is taking that leadership role. Legal education today is interdisciplinary, international, interdisciplinary, and interprofessional. And what we have seen, people said about law firms, lawyers, and several other, it's not only that law, technology, finance, and accountancy is a future. Just 3 thoughts I thought I'll just briefly share. I think for the students particularly, what is required is an intensive, rigorous legal learning. Please listen generously, read voraciously, reflect deeply. As Vikramjit Banerjee has said, reading, thinking, speaking, writing, and reflecting are essential skills of the law students. Along with that, you also have a patience and curiosity to learn. You have to learn several of the laws, cases, look at the dissenting judgments of this, comparative jurisprudence, and several other. And somebody said not only with the law in books, law outside the book, and also law in society and a comparative jurisprudence. Lastly, Professor Madhav Menon always used to say that discipline and hard work, more hard work, some more hard work. There's no substitute to hard work in life. So I wish all the students the success in their exciting journey of learning the law. All the best.
Thank you. Only one parting suggestion from my side to the Honorable Chairman of the Bar Council of India, that what you have achieved here is not just the inauguration of the law school. You have brought together the most brilliant minds in the field of legal education. There are so many vice chancellors. I am actually overwhelmed by their presence here and the faculty members. My request to you is that please make it an annual feature. There should be a congregation of such eminent law teachers, whether they are vice chancellor, directors, faculty members. Please make it an annual feature. I would love to come again and again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for conducting this meeting very nicely. We are really grateful to Mr. Lalit Bhasin Saab. Now, we'll felicitate the honorable dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. The members, my colleagues in the Bar Council of India, they'll be requested one by one to come on the dais and felicitate the dignitaries.
As a token of our institute's appreciation for all the dignitaries, so now I would request for the presentation of bouquets and shawls to all the dignitaries. Mr. S. Prabhakaran, Vice Chairman, BCI and BCI Trust, I request you, sir, to kindly present a bouquet. Dr. Lalit Bhasin, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Ved Prakash Sharma, Member Bar Council of India and Managing Trustee of BCI Trust, I request you, sir, to kindly present a bouquet and shawl to Mr. Lakshmi Kumaran, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, Mr. Apurva Gopal Sharma, Executive Chairman, BCI and BCI Trust, may I request you, sir, to present a bouquet and a shawl to Ms. Neena Gupta, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Now, Mr. Srinath Tripathi, Member, Bar Council of India and Managing Trustee of BCI Trust, may I request you, sir, to kindly present a bouquet to Mr. Rohit Ashwaprasad. Thank you, sir. Now, may I request Mr. Pratap Mehta, Member, Bar Council of India and Managing Trustee, BCI Trust, to kindly present a bouquet to Ms. and shawl to Ms. Shweta Sahu. Thank you, sir. Now, may I request Mr. Shailendra Dubey, Member, Bar Council of India and Managing Trustee of BCA Trust, to kindly present the bouquet and shawl to Mr. Anand Srivastava. Thank you, sir. Now, may I request Mr. Vishnuvardhan Reddy, Member, Bar Council of India and Managing Trustee of BCA Trust, to kindly present the bouquet and shawl to Mr. Gaurav Dudeja. Thank you, sir. Now, may I request Mr. Dilip Patel, Member, Bar Council of India and Managing Trustee of BCI Trust, to kindly present the bouquet to Mr. S.N. Bhatt, sir.
यहाँ लिखो जयंत जय भावे जयंत जय भावे
Thank you, sir. Now, may I request Mr. Suresh Chandra Srimali, Member, Bar Council of India and Managing Trustee of BCI Trust to kindly present the bouquet and shawl to Mr. Rajiv Dutt, sir. Thank you, sir. Now may I request Mr. D.K. Sharma, Member, Bar Council of India and Managing Trustee of BCI Trust to kindly present the bouquet to Advocate Vikramjit, sir. Thank you, sir. Now may I request Mr. Pratap Singh, Member, Bar Council of India and Managing Trustee of BCI Trust to kindly present the bouquet and shawl to Professor Dr. Ranbir Singh, sir. Thank you, sir. Now may I request Mr. Jayant Japhave, Member, Bar Council of India and Managing Trustee, BCI Trust to kindly present the bouquet to Professor Dr. Venkat Rao, sir. Rao, sir. KD Rao, sir. 1 second. So I'll repeat, I guess. Repeat. Thank you, sir. Now may I request Mr. Amit Vaid, Member, Bar Council of India and Managing Trustee, BCI Trust to kindly present the bouquet and shawl to Professor Dr. KD Rao, sir. Nal, sir. Professor Dr. KD Rao, sir. नहीं
कृष्णदेव राव नहीं हुआ है केडी राव नहीं पूरा नाम बोलो तो
श्री कृष्ण प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर कृष्णदेव राव सर Thank you, sir. Now, once again, may I request Mr. S. Prabhakaran, Vice Chairman, Bar Council of India and Bar Council of India Trust, to kindly present the bouquet and shawl to Professor Dr. Dilip UK, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, once again, may I request Mr. Ved Prakash Sharma, Member, Bar Council of India and Managing Trustee, BCI Trust, to kindly present the bouquet and shawl to Professor Dr. Vijayendra Kumar, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, may I once again request Mr. Apurva Kumar Sharma, Executive Chairman, BCI and BCA Trust, to kindly present a bouquet and shawl to Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Sinha. Thank you, sir. Now, may I request Mr. Srinath Tripati, Member, Bar Council of India and Managing Trustee, BCA Trust, to kindly present the bouquet and shawl to Professor Dr. Nagaraj, sir.
And now, it's my privilege to invite and felicitate Dr. Professor Sri Vidya Raghavan, the Vice Chancellor of IIULER, Goa. Now, may I now request Dr. Lalit Bhasin, sir, to kindly present a bouquet to Mr. Manan Mishra, sir.
It's with great sense of pleasure, honor and privilege that on behalf of all of us here, I present this token of our deep appreciation to Professor Dr. Manan Mishra. I'm giving you this, Manan Mishra.
Today, we are fortunate to have the Honorable Member of Rajya Sabha, Mr. Tendulkar, Binay Tendulkar Sahab. I have the privilege to felicitate him. Sir, thank you very much for accepting my invitation and taking trouble to come and attend this function. Please come. Now, before vote of thanks, you all know the great legal luminaries. You have already heard and you have been blessed with their speeches. The second session, Honorable the Chief Justice of India, the visitor of this university, Honorable Mr. Justice P.S. Narasimha Sahab, Judge Supreme Court of India, who is the Chancellor of this university, Honorable Mr. Justice B.R. Gawai, Senior Judge of Supreme Court, who is the Managing Trustee of the Bar Council of India Trust, the Chief Justice of Bombay High Court, Mr. Justice Dipankar Datta, Mr. Justice Sonak, Judge Bombay High Court from Goa bench, they all will be here. So, after vote of thanks, there will be a lunch break. The students with their parents, the guardians, they will be requested to take their lunch outside. It is within the campus itself. The dignitaries, the honorable professors, the senior partners of the law firms, the senior advocates, their lunch is here, just behind the auditorium, this dais. So, make it a point to be here 10:30 or 12:30 sharp in this hall after finishing your lunch. Sorry, 2:30 sharp, 2:30 p.m. you all are requested to be here because the program will start at 2:30 after the lunch, and I hope and expect that you will be finishing your lunch by 2:15 itself. Thank you all.
I request you all to kindly sit for another 2 minutes and bear with the vote of thanks as well. Dignitaries on and off the dais, on behalf of the India International University of Legal Education and Research, I extend our sincere gratitude to everyone gathered here today at what we could rightly call the first step towards a new era for legal education in India. Indeed, Rome was not built in a day. For this institute to commence functioning, numerous people have invested their mental, emotional, time and other labor in tremendous amounts. We express our most sincere gratitude to the multitude of actors who worked hard to pave this path to realize the dream of globalizing legal education in India. Primarily, I thank Dr. Lalit Bhasin, President, Society of Indian Law Firms, for chairing this session. Kindly agreeing to that, so thank you. All the distinguished academicians, senior advocates, senior partners of law firms, legal luminaries and jurists, we thank you all for becoming a part of the ceremony and for your inspiring address to the students. Your words would guide and shape these young minds present and in attendance, and we hope they would, after graduation, follow your footsteps. You are who this young and excited crowd look up to, and we are thankful to you for gracing this ceremony and interacting with us all. Especially, we also record our sincere gratitude to Mr. Rajiv Datta, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India, Mr. Vikramjit Banerjee, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India, Mr. V. Lakshmi Kumaran, Founder and Managing Partner, Lakshmi Kumaran and Sridharan Attorneys, and all other dignitaries who spoke today, as well as those who are present today. Apart from the dignitaries aforementioned, we also thank the Honorable Chairman, Shri Manan Kumar Mishra, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India, and Chairman, BCI Trust and BCI. Also, the Secretary, Bar Council of India, and Officiating Secretary, BCI Trust, and all other distinguished members and staff of the Trust. We express our sincere gratitude to all our distinguished members, especially Mr. Prabhakaran Subramaniam, Mr. A. Rami Reddy, Mr. Ved Prakash Sharma, Mr. Suresh Chandra Shrimali, Mr. Srinath Tripathi, Mr. Pratap Mehta, Mr. Devi Prasad Thal, Mr. Shailendra Dubey, Mr. Dilip K. Patel, Mr. Pratap Singh, Mr. P. Vishnuvardhan Reddy, Mr. D. K. Sharma, Mr. Jayan Jaipave Dattatre, Mr. Amit Vaid, and Mr. Apurva Kumar Sharma. Apart from them, we also express our gratitude to the numerous staff who worked in different administrative capacities to coordinate and organize this event. We also thank all the distinguished academicians who guided us through the process, including Professor Dr. N.L. Mitra, former Vice Chancellor, National University, Jodhpur, Professor Dr. Ranbir Singh, founder and former Vice Chancellor, National University, Delhi, Professor Dr. Venkat Rao, former Vice Chancellor of National Law School of India, University, Bangalore, and current Chairperson, Vivekananda School of Law and Legal Studies, New Delhi, Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Sinha, Director, Indian Law Institute, Professor Dr. Vijendra Kumar, Vice Chancellor, MNLU Nagpur, Professor Dr. Dilip UK, MNLU Mumbai, Professor Dr. S. Shantakumar, Vice Chancellor, Gujarat National University, Professor Dr. Sri Krishnadeva Rao, Vice Chancellor, Nalsar, Hyderabad, Professor Dr. V. Nagaraj, Vice Chancellor, DNLU, Jabalpur. Without your valuable contribution and guidance, this day would not have been possible. We also thank all the staff members and crew who coordinated and executed transportation, accommodation, food, etc. for this event. We also thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Srividya Raghavan, whose zeal and enthusiasm is excitingly infectious, and all the newly appointed teaching and administrative staff. Last but perhaps most importantly, we thank all the parents and students who are present here, through whom this institute will function and flourish. Thank you all.
You all are expected to be here by 2:15.